welcome to this deep dive. Today we're exploring some really fascinating source material. It's a personal story, actually, about how a travel destination, one we think we know, can be so much more.
Right, we're talking about Switzerland.
Exactly, Switzerland. You see the pictures, the calendars, right? But this story looks at its profound personal impact. It's not your standard travel guide. It's more of a reflection, really, on how a place can heal you, maybe challenge you, and just completely change how you see things.
Yeah, it sounds like it digs deeper than just sightseeing.
It really does. So our mission today is to unpack that journey, this transformation, and find those, surprising insights the source offers about peace, perspective, self-discovery even.
Okay.
Let's get into it, move beyond those postcard images.
Sounds good.
So the source kicks off by setting the scene way back in childhood. Switzerland was painted as this, almost unreal place, like a storybook.
The classic image.
Yeah, snowy Alps, these incredibly quiet villages, those lakes reflecting mountains perfectly, the kind of images you see everywhere.
Right. Almost too perfect to be real sometimes.
Exactly. And for the writer, it was this quiet dream, something they held on to, but interestingly, never really thought they'd actually get to visit.
And that's striking, isn't it? How a place, maybe one you've only ever seen in photos, can lodge itself in your mind as this lifelong sort of aspiration.
Yeah.
A key point from the source here, I think, is that these kinds of deep-seated dreams, they often have their own timing.
Right.
And when that moment finally clicks, it suggests it's rarely just about the place itself. It's more the culmination of something, something that felt like it was waiting.
Like everything aligning. And when that moment did arrive for the author, the source says something shifted almost immediately.
Okay.
They landed in Zurich, took the train to Lauterbrunnen, and the description is that nothing quite prepares you for that valley.
Lauterbrunnen, yeah.
Yeah, huge cliffs all around, waterfalls just dropping from these crazy heights. It sounds like it just hit them on a completely different level. Stepping off the train and everything, it just slowed right down. What was it, according to the material, about that initial arrival, especially the silence? Why was it so impactful, so immediate?
Well, a really core insight from the source here is that profound silence. It isn't just the lack of noise. It's described as a kind of sacred space. It's full of peace.
A sacred space, interesting.
Yeah, the description of Lauterbrunnen is incredibly vivid. The only sounds were like birds, distant water, and maybe their own breathing, finally deep and unhurried.
Wow.
It really throws into sharp relief just how much auditory clutter we navigate every single day. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It really does.
How rare is it to experience that kind of pure quiet in our lives now? And what does it show us when we actually find it? For the author, this silence wasn't empty at all. It felt full of something almost, sacred, as they put it.
It sounds like an immediate immersion, like stepping into a different state of being almost instantly. And from that calm, the source says, the journey went higher up the cogwheel train to Jungfrau, the top of Europe.
Right, yeah, high altitude.
Imagine standing there, over 11,000 feet, just surrounded by endless snow peaks, this huge sky. The source describes feeling tiny, insignificant even.
Yeah, but crucially, not in a bad way, not disheartening.
No,
the source is clear on that. That vastness, the scale of the mountains, it offered a really liberating insight for the writer. They frame it as, the world is so much bigger than your problems.
Oh, okay.
So that feeling of being small wasn't crushing, it was freeing. It became this profound reframing moment. Whatever stress or regret or confusion they were carrying, it just started to sort of melt away up there. So it wasn't just about, wow, what a view. It was nature actively helping reshape their internal landscape, showing them their place in a much bigger, much more humbling context.
That makes sense. That sense of insignificance being freeing. Did the source mention if that ever tipped over into feeling overwhelming? Or was it consistently positive, that humbling feeling?
From the way it's described, it seems consistently positive, a perspective shift that brought relief, not anxiety.
Okay. And it wasn't only those huge, grand moments that shaped things, right? The source also talks about just the general pace of life there.
Yes, the rhythm of Switzerland itself.
They describe it as one of those rare places where people just don't seem to rush. Trains glide smoothly, coffee is, sipped slowly. There's just space to just be. How did that slower rhythm, based on the source, feed into those internal changes they noticed?
Well, interestingly, the material really highlights how that external pace became a catalyst for a pretty significant internal shift.
Okay.
Whether it was walking around Lake Geneva, or maybe exploring Lucerne, or even just watching cows graze near Grindelwald, this genuine calmness started to kind of follow the writer around. It seeped into their thoughts, their conversations, even, it seems, how they treated themselves. It suggests Switzerland isn't trying to push you to do more, but it sort of invites you to feel more.
That's a great distinction. Feel more, not do more.
Which is pretty profound in our world, right?
Yeah.
Always pushing to the next thing. Most of us probably live with constant noise, notifications, emails, just our own racing thoughts.
Definitely. Guilty as charged.
So stepping into that kind of deep quiet, that slower pace, it must have felt like hitting a reset button for the mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems like feeling more profoundly then led to a really crucial internal journey. With all that beauty and quiet, silence itself really became like a companion for the writer.
A best friend, as they put it.
They'd sit by a lake or on a trail somewhere and just listen. Listen to the wind, the water, the quiet. It really makes you think, doesn't it? About all the moments we spend trying to fill every silence.
We really do. And in that quiet space, that uncluttered mental space, the writers started to really hear themselves. Their own thoughts, maybe their intuition whispering, their fears getting quieter. The source's journey here really underscores, I think, a critical need in modern life. We need to deliberately cultivate that kind of self-dialogue.
Yeah, making space for it.
Exactly. It shows how vital it is to create that space for honest talks with ourselves, to admit things, forgive things, maybe start dreaming again. Sometimes, as the source really emphasizes, you just need a place that doesn't talk back.
Right.
A place that just kind of holds you while you figure things out. And that's what Switzerland seemed to offer, a sanctuary for, deep introspection.
So the source poses the question, why share all this? And the answer isn't just look at my nice photos or even just the beauty itself.
No, it's more than that.
It's about what Switzerland does to you. The writer encourages people to go, yes, but specifically to remember what peace feels like, to really learn how small you are, but in a good way, a beautiful way, and to walk through nature that doesn't just impress you visually, but actually transforms you internally.
And it's noteworthy that the recommendation isn't just for a holiday, is it? It's framed more as a journey that helps you build a kind of lasting internal resource.
An internal resource, I like that.
Yeah, the author stresses that one day, maybe when things are tough, you'll need a memory that reminds you what calm feels like, what real beauty is, what quiet strength feels like inside. And for them, Switzerland became that touchstone memory.
That really speaks to the idea that some travel isn't just escape, it becomes foundational, right? Builds this reservoir of tranquility you can draw on later.
Exactly. A deep well.
So we've discussed how travel can be much more than just getting away. It can actually be a path back, maybe, to a version of ourselves we've kind of lost in the noise of daily life.
A return.
And this deep dive into your source material on Switzerland really showed how a landscape, a specific kind of silence, and just a different pace of living can offer, well, immense clarity and peace.
Yeah, the source definitely highlights that it's not just about admiring the scenery, it's about a deep internal transformation.
Right. So what does this all mean for you listening? This is where it gets really interesting, I think. If that idea resonates, finding a place that, quote, just holds you while you figure it out, or maybe one that reveals the world is so much bigger than your problems, well, perhaps the real journey isn't only about going to a specific geographical spot.
Okay.
It might also be about finding or cultivating that internal peace, that calm, that quiet strength wherever you happen to be, right here, right now.
Finding Switzerland within, maybe.
Maybe, or at least the qualities it represents. So it leaves us with a thought to ponder, doesn't it? What unexpected corner of your world, or maybe even just an unexpected corner of your own mind, might hold the key to your next moment of profound